Welcome to a brand new season of Flippin' Friday, and we're going to be doing things a little differently around here. Not only are we assembling and flipping a unique, custom-painted $400-ish gaming PC today, but we're changing things up with the Flippin' Friday series, and I know you're going to enjoy this. First up, you're not actually watching this video until I successfully sold and flipped this gaming PC, and I'm also doing all of these sales locally. Over the past several years, we've sold literally hundreds of gaming PCs off ZTTbuilds.com, and for these Flippin' Friday episodes, I've been typically just giving you a recommended price of what I think you can get for them, but I'm not actually completing the flip myself for that price.
Prove it!
In season 2 of Flippin' Friday, I'm actually going to be trying to make a profit off these builds and proving to you that you can make some money doing this whole process. The other change we're making is that for season 2, all of these Flippin' Friday builds will be assembled, configured, and benchmarked during my live streams, so you can actually follow along with the progress of each build in real time before you see these main videos go live. Make sure you turn notifications on for both Twitch and YouTube so you don't miss them, and so you don't miss the current baller gaming PC that we're giving away over there right now. So with that being said, I gotta take this build back home right now to start building during the live stream, but before I do that, we gotta do a very quick paint job first. And real quickly, since I know my audience is always interested in saving money when building and selling gaming PCs, today's video sponsor GVG Mall can definitely help you out with that. I've worked with GVG Mall for so long now and have bought probably close to 100 keys myself, and they're hooking you all up big time with the 25% off discount if you use code ZTT18 with the link in the description. GVG Mall has Windows activation keys as well as Microsoft Office, game keys for platforms like Steam and Origin, and they even have console stuff too like PSN and Xbox prepaid cards. Activating Windows couldn't be easier, just paste in the key that you get instantly after paying on the website, so remove that ugly unactivated watermark for good. Don't forget to use ZTT18 for 25% off with the link in the description. All right, so starting with the CPU, I went with the tried and tested Ryzen 5 3600, and I picked this up for $62 off AliExpress. I've said so many times that this is one of the best possible options for a budget build, especially a budget flip, so I'm gonna continue to use them. The motherboard it's plugged into is the Gigabyte A520M S2H, and I picked this up along with the rest of the ZTT community that's following the ZTT Deals channel for $50 brand new off Amazon during a crazy sale. The motherboard has zero extra features and lacks some future-proofing support, but it gets the job done in a budget flip like this. For the RAM, I got some G-Skills Ripjaw, and this is a 2x8GB kit clocked at 3600 MHz. I paid $35 for this off Newegg, and I spent a few extra dollars for the faster 3600 MHz, but that was definitely worth it for the performance bump with the Ryzen 5 3600. Next up, we have the SSD, and this is the Team MP33 1TB NVMe drive, and at $36, it was the absolute cheapest 1TB NVMe drive that was available, and that's all that really matters. I think we are past the point of flipping gaming PCs with a ½ TB, so this is the new minimum for most situations. And to polish off this motherboard prep, we have the CPU cooler, and here's where you can start to see that color scheme come to life. I used this Rust-Oleum fluorescent spray paint as you saw earlier, and let me tell you that this was the worst can of spray paint that I ever used. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Moving along our parts list, we have the power supply, and I picked up yet another Apivia Prestige 600 watt, and this is an 80+ gold certified tier C unit that's available on Amazon every day of the week for $51. And you know I paired some cable extensions with it. Of course, I got these green cables from Formula Mod, and these turned out pretty sick for just $24. Even though we are trying to maximize profit margins on our flips now, I still think the extensions are worth it because the entire color scheme allows you to sell the build for more than it's actually worth, but we'll find out soon if that actually paid off or not. And now that the motherboard and power supply are prepped, it was time to start putting everything inside our case, and today I'm using the Sama ARGB-Q5-BK, and I actually really like this case a lot for PC flipping. It costs just $50 brand new on Newegg, and it's a super clean and minimal micro ATX all black option with 3 pre-installed ARGB fans. What's not to love? I also totally expected a tough cable management job when I first opened it up, but somehow everything just fell into place quite nicely, and it was deceiving how decent this case is for a decent cable management job. There's enough cable tie downs and areas to flatten out the cables, and you of course have the PSU basement to jam everything underneath. I'll definitely be trying to use this one more in the future. And finally, the last component to polish the build off is the graphics card, and here I'm going with the EVGA GTX 1080 SC, and I specifically got this model because of the removable removable accent pieces, which I knew I wanted to paint. I sniped this off Jawa for $95, which is already a pretty solid deal, and the 1080 performs roughly the same as an 8GB RTX 3060, so it's no slouch in 2023, especially for less than $100. All in all, here's what the total parts list is looking like. I have everything down in the description, by the way, and I have exactly $403 invested in this build, and after talking to you guys on the live stream, we're gonna start the pricing at $600 on Facebook Marketplace and see what we come up with. I was originally thinking that I should list it for $550 and potentially settle down to $500, but I think we were all surprised with just how good this PC looks, and everyone said to start it at $600. This is actually my face when I first fired up the PC. The RGBs were ironically defaulted to the green color option, and this build just looks so good for the money. One thing I don't like about the aesthetics though is this paint job, and again, it's because of how bad this spray paint can was. I've spray painted a lot of PC parts before, and I've never dealt with such a bad can like this. Not only did the color come out darker than what was advertised, but the spray consistency was off the entire time. There were drips coming out of the can here and there, and it just didn't go on smoothly at all. I would not recommend you buy this. These Paint Plus primer cans are the ones I usually go with. So for this listing, this is what I first set it at, and I'll admit I'm a little rusty when it comes to local PC flipping. As a content creator that already gets a ton of traffic, we can get away with putting a minimal amount of information on zttbuilds.com, but when I'm posting on a local marketplace, I gotta step up my game and include all the information a potential buyer who doesn't know who I am could possibly need. I have an intro about the build, a little ZTT YouTube shout out to try to establish some sort of reputation, the basic benchmarks for the build, the spec sheet, and then the insurance that everything is updated and activated. Here's the 4 pictures that I also started with, and honestly, all of this should equate to a pretty easy sale, or at least I'm hoping so. In terms of benchmarks, like I said in the intro, I actually did all of this during my live stream, so if you want to see how this works behind the scenes, I would definitely recommend joining us, but this build did very well in my testing. For 3D Mark Time Spy, we got a score of 7,388, and if you know anything about Time Spy scores, you'll know that this means it's a monster price to performance build. Remember that this only cost me $403. If you want to just copy a build like this for yourself and not flip it, I'd highly recommend it. We also fired up Cyberpunk 2077 with the new DLC and update, and when using 1080p and medium settings, I got an FPS average of 63, which is really good for this demanding of a title. Same thing for Forza Ryzen 5, because in 1080p with ultra settings, we got 70 FPS, which you love to see. I also tested Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 using the built-in benchmarking tool, and in 1080p with medium settings, the build scored an FPS average of 113. I also, of course, tested Fortnite because I knew you guys would enjoy that during the live stream, and not only did I land a last-second shotgun kill while testing, but we also got a very solid 181 average FPS using 1080p and Pro settings. And finally, I also tested Valorant, which I managed to get a few kills in as well, and when using 1080p and Pro settings, we got 210 FPS, which just ensures to the buyer that a higher refresh rate monitor will be a good combo for a budget build like this. Now, I did also test Starfield, which as far as I know is the most demanding game on the market right now, and here we got unfortunate results, as in 1080p and low settings, we only got 48 FPS. This is still a playable amount of FPS, mind you, but this is a situation where you probably shouldn't share that score on your sale posting. It's certainly not going to help you in this situation. But yeah, as far as the listing goes, I only included benchmarks for Fortnite, Valorant, Cyberpunk, and Modern Warfare 2, as you don't need to include everything, and I first posted this on October 9th, and here's how everything went down after that. Now, I did lose my voice during this whole process, just as a heads up, but yeah, I actually got an email before I even posted the build on Facebook Marketplace, and it was from a ZTT viewer, and they were interested in meeting up right away and buying the PC. I did tell him that I wanted to go through the normal process of posting it and letting everyone get a chance at it, but as soon as it was posted, he contacted me directly through Facebook, and we set up the meeting super quickly. He actually drove an hour and a half away to meet at my local Rite Aid, which I've always considered my own PC flipping turf. He gave me the $550 for the build, and everything went pretty smooth. Overall, with a $403 purchase price and a sale of $550, we made a very nice $147 profit, and I'll consider that a huge start to the new season of Flippin' Friday. We'll keep a running tally of how much profit we make this season, and make sure you hit that subscribe button because the next build should yield similar results, if not even better. And feel free to click the video that's on the screen now if you're interested in catching up on the previous season of Flippin' Friday.